It's a pretty common expectation that if you're going to try and heal from the effects of infidelity, whether you've been unfaithful or whether you've been betrayed, you're going to have some very dark moments. And over the past couple of weeks, I've talked with a lot of people who really have had some dark moments. And sometimes those dark moments can cause us to reevaluate things and make decisions and read into them more than we should. So today I want to tell you about a really dark moment that I had in hopes that it encourages you and gives you some perspective on how to move through these really dark, almost debilitating moments. My disclaimer to you today is that I am not proud of this moment. And immediately I'm sure your curiosity starts to come into play. So early on in recovery, we were at a point where we had generated some momentum and were doing pretty well, but we were doing pretty well, but every few days or a month there was a couple of good blowouts or what have you. And so we had generated some momentum, and the recession had hit, and that put us about probably 3 years into recovery. And the recession was probably one of the most PTSD-inspiring seasons of my life besides disclosure. And we lost everything. And I remember there was this time I had this little sports car that I really did love at the time. I sold the car that I had during my affair and got this little car. And it continued to start to break down. Now the recession hit, money is incredibly tight, and so it has to be towed. And I think the tow fee was like $100 or $120 or something like that. So I came up with the great idea to say, look, I'm going to save a good $100. I'm going to go rent one of those little car dollies, and I'm going to put my car on that, and I'll tow it to the shop myself, save some money, make Samantha happy. Things are going to be okay. So I go rent the car dolly, hook it up to my truck, and pull over to my house. Now, my little sports car was in my driveway that has a little bit of a slope. I thought, because the car wouldn't run, I thought it's on a little bit of a slope, I'll perfectly place the dolly there, it'll roll right onto it, and we will be good to go. I was already stressed and panicked about how much it was going to cost to fix the little sports car. I was already freaked out about that. And so my stress was running a little bit high. So I back the family truck with the car dolly on there, and I get in there. I say a big prayer. I think, here we go, me and God, we got this. And I roll the car onto the car dolly, and it goes sideways. It doesn't get on there appropriately, or perfectly rather. And so now I'm kind of stuck. The spoiler is overhanging a part of the car dolly. I am in front of my house by myself, kids are at school, Samantha's gone somewhere, and I'm having this little minor meltdown thinking, oh no. And so I try all these different shenanigans, I try to do what I can. It's blazing hot in Texas. I can't get it figured out, and finally I just snap. I get into the family truck, and I just go, you know what, I'm just going to pull it, and the front spoiler will probably just kind of pull back and we'll be good. No, I yanked the whole front spoiler off of the car. So it was in the middle of the day. I had to go handle some work and try and kind of put it behind me. And as the day went on, I realized now we're going to have to pay for the car dolly that I can't get to work, and we're going to have to pay for the tow fee, and then we got to fix the car. And so I did all my stuff during the day, and then later on that night, I needed to take the car dolly back. Now, the problem gets a little bit more intense. You see, when Samantha came home, she saw the front spoiler of the Audi on top of the Audi because I was so pissed, I threw it on top of the car. And she says, I thought you said this plan was going to work. It didn't help. She didn't really help. We had a huge fight. And so I went out and kind of got liquored up. And so what I had drank didn't really mix well with my stomach, and I had to take the car dolly back by midnight, so I wasn't charged 2 days because I had rented it for a day. Driving to the car dolly place, I started to get really sick. Yeah, I was driving, probably shouldn't have been. Got to the car dolly place, was trying to unhook the car dolly, and something was wrong with the car dolly. I couldn't get it to unplug, and so I start to get upset. I start to feel sick, and all of a sudden, I throw up all over the car dolly. At this point, I am so furious. I start to kick the car dolly. I actually slip in the vomit that I have thrown up. I am furious beyond all belief and get so mad. I'm yelling at God, I'm yelling at myself, and I go to the car dolly, and it's just a little switch and it comes off. I am so mad, I am walking around yelling at God and myself in this U-Haul place at midnight. True story. So I drive home, feeling much better now after heaving, twice. I get home, barely sleep. And the funny thing is, you'll laugh at the humiliation. I called the car dolly place the next day to beg them to waive some kind of a discount because it turns out it wasn't supposed to be midnight. It was actually supposed to be 6 p.m. that you had to turn it back in so they could document it. I called this woman the next day and I said, hey, this is Samuel such and such. And she says, yeah, we knew you'd be calling. And I said, really? She goes, you had a rough night, didn't you? You see, there was a camera there and saw everything. And I said, I can't. I broke out in a cold sweat and I said, here's what's happened. And I basically started crying on the phone with this woman. And she goes, look, after the night you've had, yes, the car dolly's free for you. Don't worry about it. I hope life gets better. Take care. This was one of the most dark, depressing moments that I had ever felt. And besides, obviously, disclosure and things like that. And I want to tell you, there's going to be some dark moments in recovery, and you're going to be furious. You're going to be walking around in your own circle yelling at God. But here's the thing that you have to realize. I share this funny story, this humiliating story, for one reason, to help you understand that your dark moments are probably just a moment. It's not a sign. It's not an emblem. It's not a time for you to make some heavy decisions about your future. It's not probably a sign from God or a sign from the universe that recovery's not for you, that your marriage is doomed and that you should just give up and that you should off yourself or that you should give up on your marriage and that this is going to be what your recovery is going to look like. No, it's not. It's a dark moment. Every great book has probably one or two bad or dark chapters. Every great movie has some couple of dark scenes. That's what makes it such a great movie. You see, in dark moments, we in our humanity want to over-evaluate things. We want to reevaluate everything. We want to make decisions, and I want to tell you in those dark moments, you have to say to yourself, this is just a dark moment. This doesn't mean I'm on the wrong road. Maybe, if you're an unfaithful and everything's going wrong, maybe it is a sign that you need to at least wake up and go, wait a minute, what am I doing? But you can't read into these dark moments and think, recovery's a mistake, I should have quit on my marriage, I should have done this, No. You probably need to take that moment and if you're subscribing to faith, say, God, what are you trying to say to me? If you don't subscribe to faith, you may take that moment as a giant pause and go, okay, hold on. What's going on? What am I experiencing? Am I missing something here? All of this can't just be happening to happen. I've got to sit back and just realize this is a dark moment and I'm going to get through this dark moment. I have a ton of dark moments, but I'll tell you, I can look back upon the car dolly moment and realize, you know what, it was a dark moment. And I wanted to quit, I wanted to give up, I had to tell God I was sorry for all the things that I had said and screamed and yelled, besides drinking and driving, all the different things. Man, it was a tough moment. And I look back upon that moment and everything in me wanted to quit, but I know that if I'd have quit in that moment, if I'd have made some decisions in that moment, that I would have missed millions of other amazing moments. I would have missed moment after moment with my kids, with Samantha, that has been life-saving and life-changing. But you can't decide in dark moments. You can't live or die on the dark moments or the great moments because those are just moments. There's always going to be good moments. There's going to be some horrible moments. But it's not for you to make a decision during those moments, you have to look at the timeline. You have to look at the unfolding of events over a significant period of time for you to then make a decision. Don't make a decision when everything is going to complete hell. Don't make a decision when everything is firing on all cylinders and everything is great. Don't allow those moments to make you decide. You have to take the unfolding over a period of time, usually a year to 2 years, before you decide, do you end the marriage or do you save it and ride off into the sunset of recovery? I don't know what your dark moments are happening. Maybe you need to laugh like I do now, looking back upon that moment. Maybe you just need to cry. Maybe you do need to sit down in that dark moment and just cry and get it all out. I don't know. But don't make any ultimate decisions, because it's probably just a dark moment that you've got to get through.